Welcome back to Late Night Cage Fight. This is your boy, Cage Fighter Reese. Hey, this is part 2 of our Con Air versus Face Off review. So if you haven't listened to part 1, I urge you to do so because we will be referring back to the Con Air portion of this episode that has been broken into 2 parts. Thank you very much for listening. I also wanted to take this time to mention another podcast, the Brady Bros. We've talked about them before. Zach Walsh, one of the hosts, has been a part of our podcast before. And the Brady Bros, they're 3 brothers who have embarked on this epic journey to watch every piece of Brady Bunch themed television and film ever. And they are really funny guys, and they're just about to finish up season 2 and get into some of the wildest episodes of the Brady Bunch. Apparently, they're having a real-life feud with 2 of the cast members who happen to have started their very own similarly named podcast with an incredibly and suspiciously similar premise, and yet won't acknowledge their existence publicly. I wonder if Late Night Cage Fight can relate to that. Apparently, they're getting fan mail from people who follow their show by mistake, so it's been a wild ride for them. Look up the Brady Bros anywhere podcasts are available. We expect to do a crossover episode soon, actually, with these guys. I'm not the biggest Brady Bunch fan, but I did watch a lot of the show as a kid. Was it Nick at Night? Anyway, I have a blast, though, just listening to these guys talk about it. And I know you will too. Finally, I'd like to congratulate Cage Fighter Steve and his wife on their new son, Kai. He was just born yesterday. It's so amazing that I can announce that right now as this episode is just about to come out. Will he be the next biggest Cage fan? Who knows? I hope so. But anyway, yes, congratulations. All right, now let's get into the face-off portion of our Con Air versus Face Off episode.
Like a vampire, I don't need to know you. Come with me, I'll show you. You can find me backstage, I'm a party with a Nicolas Cage. Girl, I want that body, you know you got a body like Nicolas Cage. You ain't gotta be scared, you ain't gotta be afraid, baby. It's just you and me alone tonight with Nicolas Cage.
Now, I don't have notes for Face Off like I did for Con Air.
Good.
So, you guys, I'm hoping you guys can kind of go through it, and then I can just give my feedback on what you guys say.
I'd just like to give a shout out to our sponsors for this episode. The graphic novel Mouse by Art Spiegelman. And also the Tennessee State School Board. Keeping our children educated.
But just the ones in Tennessee.
Yeah. With the truth.
The other kids can fuck right off. Mm-hmm. I also want to make a shout out to Nicolas Cage. If you're listening,
he is.
We do this for you.
We're actually the reason why he's happily married, because him and his wife listen to our podcast before they make love every day.
It's true. He DM'd me that the other day.
Mm-hmm. Which is why you should join our Discord, because Nicolas Cage himself is actually a member of the Discord.
Yeah. He keeps himself hidden because he doesn't want to deal with all of the attention. He's a really humble guy. But yeah,
thank you.
He's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like my wife went to get the girls, so we can continue.
Who greenlit the idea for this movie?
I don't know, but before we talk about it, here's a little clip from the trailer.
I've been chasing this guy ever since I joined the force. He has no conscience, and he He shows no remorse. He's the mastermind behind numerous bombings and political assassinations. He has a felony list a mile long: murder, arson, kidnapping, terrorism, you name it. He's the most dangerous and brilliant criminal mind I've ever known. For years, I've been watching him, tracking him, studying his every move. I know his every mannerism, facial tic, gesture. I know him better than he knows himself. And now, after all this time, I finally figured out a way to trap him. I will become him. I don't care if I live.
You're not having any fun, are you, Sean? Try terrorism for hire. We'll blow some stuff up. It's more fun.
Plan B. Let's just kill each other.
That was a clip from the trailer of Face Off.
Holy crap, that was amazing. I loved watching every second of that.
Do you think that these writers, just somebody was high? It's like, you know what? To fight somebody is like to face off against them, right?
Face
like,
off, dude. I love with that.
What if we had a movie called Face Off, where they got to fight, but they actually get their like face off, taken off?
No, remember, John Travolta even said it. He was like, face. Or no, Nick. Who said it? Face.
I thought it was Travolta.
Off. Yeah.
I have a really important question, though.
I want to hear it.
So, in this movie, does it still count as a Cage out if it's done by John Travolta?
Oh, that's a deep question, right? John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage. I think it should, because he's tapping into that big Nick energy.
I like that. So, I don't want to go into the same level of detail that you did for Con Air. I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview of what this movie was, because from a general standpoint, the plot is relatively simple, and we can just kind of discuss the topics more as commentary.
I mean, it starts out simple, but it gets a little bit confusing. There are confusing
bits, but that's why I say I think it might be more fun to approach those as commentary after the end of the synopsis.
All right, Cage Fighter Steve, take the reins.
The movie starts out with John Travolta's character, and he's at a carousel with his 5-year-old son.
He plays FBI Special Agent Sean Archer.
Sean Archer, not to be confused with Archer.
Yeah, don't.
Which I have done in the past. Anyways.
Yeah.
I remember this scene with a kid being killed at a carousel from another show too. I want to say it was like, maybe it was Heroes or something, but I remember
The Punisher.
Was it Punisher? Yeah, it was. His kid was killed at a carousel, wasn't it?
Can I just jump in real quick and say this opening scene made me scared of the merry-go-round, the carousels, as a kid, because I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna get my ass sniped.
Yeah. So a sniper, Nicolas Cage,
the best sniper,
shoots Archer and ends up killing his son.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I think it's six years later. And Archer's now some badass. What agency is he? Is he FBI?
Yeah, he's FBI.
LA cop.
FBI.
Okay. Who's apparently hunting Cage's character. Mm-hmm. Cage and his brother, in the midst of some like beard, they're planning a bomb.
Cage plays Castor Troy, who is
Castor Troy,
crazy criminal. The man with the golden gun, right? He's got two of them.
And he's got a pretty baller money clip too.
Yeah, and he works with his brother, Pollux Troy. Mm-hmm. And somehow the feds get wind of them coming in on this in the desert somewhere, their plane, which has one of Cage's best lines when he says to the woman on the plane,
because the brother bought the tickets. Brother bought the tickets. That's why. Yeah.
And he says, "Peach, I could eat a peach for hours. And that becomes a plot point as well. What I love about both of these movies is some ridiculous things become important plot points, like Dave Chappelle being thrown out of a plane.
Yeah.
Man, there's also, we got to talk about that little scene where Castor Troy pretends to be a priest. And he's singing with the choir.
Yeah, that was when they're so when they're planting the bomb, right? He's dressed up as a priest. There's some big church choir there, and he goes up and basically like molests a 16-year-old in front of everybody.
Yeah, oh my god.
And everyone's just like totally fine. They're all singing while he's just grinding on her.
I feel like if Face Off were to win the season, our next artwork should be of Castor Troy in the priest costume.
Oh, yeah. His face is just iconic. But there's the shootout, and Castor Troy tells John Travolta, Agent Sean Archer, that there's a bomb somewhere in L.A.
Yeah.
But before John Travolta can figure out all the details, Nic Cage gets knocked into a coma.
Mm-hmm.
But Pollux says that the bomb is actually is real, but he's not going to say where it is. So what do? They come up with this ingenious plan.
Yeah, they keep like trying to go after all of the other henchmen or whatever that have worked with Cage, but what is her name? Amanda. You know what I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
Sean.
Amanda Bynes.
No. Who runs Suicide Squad?
Oh, Amanda Waller.
Yeah, so Amanda Waller comes to him and he's like, "Hey, I've got a secret idea for you. Come on over to my super secret lab. You can't tell anybody about this. You can't tell your wife.
Yeah.
You can't tell your friends.
Right.
But you can tell your black best friend because this is a movie in the 90s and we have to have a black cop best friend."
Yeah. That's how I felt about Cage's black cellmate in Con Air. Like, of course. And this guy's going to either die or he's going to get really hurt and Cage is going to have to save him.
Right, because that's how we teach people to not be racist in the 90s.
A white savior complex.
Exactly.
All right, so, he learns about this special operation that they've been working on.
Where they will, simply put, they will take his face off.
Right.
So what confused me a little bit. Okay, they're going to like completely redo his body, right? They're going to take they're going to come some lipo, make him skinny like Cage. That's a good one. Do some body plugs, match the facial hair and the body hair, whatever. But the real bread and butter is that they have this mask, right? The inside is modeled after Travolta's face, and the outside is modeled after Cage's face.
Right.
So as he explains this, me being a person that just follows logical reasoning, I assume that means that we're going to put a mask on to Travolta and then put Cage's face on top of this mask.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's modeled, the inside's modeled after his face, the outside's off. No, in fact, we're just going to use this to pick up his face, and then we're going to drop the actual skin right on Travolta's face and just sew it in. Good to go. So I don't really understand the point of the mask. They made a big point of it and then didn't use it.
True. They probably just had these props, in the back lot somewhere.
So the ultimate goal was to dress Archer up as Castor Troy, quite literally. Not only to make him look like him, but to make him become him.
Yeah, everything about him. His voice, too.
Yeah, they put a microchip in his voice box and tweaked it until he sounded exactly
They gave him the
Cage.
vaccine and everything.
Yeah. And then they dropped him inside of jail and didn't tell anybody that he wasn't Castor Troy.
That's right.
Except for the doctor.
Yeah.
And Amanda Waller.
Okay. Right. So now it's kind of like The Departed or something.
Yeah.
He's undercover.
So Cage basically gets into the jail, starts a fight, and then gets him to tell him the information almost immediately.
There's no art to it. It's just,
No.
hey, I'm your brother.
Yeah, hey, I'm your brother. What about that? We were supposed to like blow up a building, right? Yeah.
Now,
When was that again?
Now,
And where?
Yeah, I may be skipping a lot here, so tell me if I am, because I don't want to miss stuff. But you know how they have the revolt at the prison? This prison, by the way, this is the one that's out in the middle of the ocean, right? It's the secret place.
It's Mother Base.
Yeah,
It's so it's so sci-fi.
So okay, yeah, yeah. All right, just to finish up where we're at, let's get through the rest of the story because from here it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Cage wakes up, like the original Castor Troy wakes up. He's got no face.
Yeah. And he's not happy about that.
No, he's pretty upset.
My face is gone.
Yeah. So he has his. He calls up his henchman and he's like, "Hey, somehow I know exactly who this doctor is and where he lives.
Yes.
Go get him. Bring him to this place that I somehow know where I am.
Yeah.
And have him do this procedure that I'm going to learn about while you guys are on your way here." So they kidnap the doctor and they bring him there. Mm-hmm. And Cage, smoking a cigarette with no face.
Oh God, yes, I
guess you can do that.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's like, "Hey." The guy's like, "Well, what do you want?" "The fuck do you think I want?"
This had to be Nic Cage's own idea. He had to have been like, I want, if I'm getting my face cut off, I feel like I should have a scene where my face is gone.
So, ironically enough, I will tell you that Nick actually didn't want to see like his own makeup, the gross face or whatever. Okay. So they actually hid all of the reflective surfaces in the room so that Nick wouldn't see his own face.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But this prison that they take them to, it doesn't exist, right? It doesn't really. It's like this
it's an
national
it's like
security.
Yeah, it's a black site.
It's a black site. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that why they're wearing
for
those?
The worst of the worst.
Is that why they're wearing those like weird, like Mega Man shoes?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
are we at the revolt yet? Where they escape?
No.
Okay.
So, Nic Cage, or I'm sorry, Castor Troy basically becomes John Archer at this point because he wakes up and he's like, just give me his stuff. So, Nic Cage's character, sorry, God, this is where it gets difficult, right?
All right.
To announce who is who. So, Nic Cage in prison, he gets a visitor, which ends up being John Archer in his new body.
Yeah.
And where he found out that he has killed the doctor.
Yeah, he's killed everybody.
Amanda Waller and his black best friend.
Right.
What was his name? Tito? Tito. That was it. Yeah, they gave him a very stereotypical football player kind of name.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
and
so
he's talking about how he's
man.
going to go home and fuck his wife.
Now, I have a question.
Okay.
All right.
When they were doing the surgery to make him exactly like Castor Troy, did they make his penis the same size?
That's everybody's question.
Did you guys both censor yourself somehow?
You didn't hear what he said? I think this is too sensitive for Steve. He can't hear us all of a sudden because you're talking about dicks.
His ISP,
yeah, flagged it. It could be Cage himself.
We got a DMCA takedown.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. What happened?
Yeah.
You good?
I'm just making sure it didn't mess any of my settings up. My headphones disconnected and reconnected. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Are you still recording?
Good. I was just double checking everything.
Okay, cool.
Did you hear what I said?
I want to hear it again.
So when they were doing the surgery to make him exactly like Castor Troy, did they make his penis the same size?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's everybody's question. I remember thinking that when I was like 10 watching this.
Because wouldn't his wife notice?
Right.
Well, maybe not, because they haven't had sex in months.
Maybe.
So she's probably been getting it on the down low from the neighbor.
Yeah, she probably just can't keep them all straight. She can't remember who has what anymore. Yeah.
Well, you got tiny cop PP over here, and then big dick Nick, and
right. But you got medium-sized Mike, who's my yoga
there's gotta
instructor.
Be a difference.
So,
I thought it was interesting that they cast her as the wife. I don't know. She just kind of stuck out to me. What's her name? Joan Allen as Eve Archer. And how Nic Cage as Castor Troy, when he becomes John Travolta's character, he's so excited to get with her. And I just thought that there wasn't much chemistry there.
It wasn't about chemistry for him, though. I mean, it matches Cage's character. It's all about conquest.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense.
This is his arch enemy, and so the chance to rail his arch enemy's wife, it doesn't matter what she looks like. It matters what the conquest is. I think
that plot point makes the entire movie worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like he should have shot his dick off or something at the end.
Oh yeah.
Started cutting his face up.
Have you guys seen these dudes remade a scene from RoboCop, where RoboCop just shoots all of the bad dudes? He shoots all their dicks off and balls. It's really funny. I'm gonna have to link it or something. But yeah, what about the fight scenes? Well, I guess let's talk about the revolt now.
Yeah, I was going to say, from here, we basically, Cage has given up on life, and what a
turnaround.
And Travolta's character is basically trying to become a national hero so that he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So he gives his brother a pardon, gets him out of jail somehow.
Trump style.
Yeah. And then Nick basically, he stages a revolt, so that he can break himself out of prison.
Yeah, and you brought up Total Recall earlier. That scene reminded me of Total Recall. It just had this weird sci-fi kind of edge to it. And then they also use the Wilhelm scream. They use that sound in so many movies, and I just find it so cheesy now.
Yeah.
When I hear it.
Noticed that.
Yep. When the one cop is fallen from the explosion or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of it was a cool action scene. I remember being a kid and thinking, wow, this is awesome. I want to be part of a jailbreak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets out of jail, and where does he go?
So, he finally ends up breaking out, because he convinces the dude he got in a fight with on the first day to defend him as a mute berserker or something. I don't know. I don't really know how that worked out, but it did. And then he ultimately gets outside, realizes, like you said, he's in the middle of an ocean, which what it looks to be disguised as an ocean refinery or something.
Oh, right.
So then I see that there's a random refinery boat going by, or a little fishing boat or something going by. He just jumps into the water, and the helicopter's like, well, he jumped in the water. We can't do anything now. So they fly off, and they just, he must be dead.
It's the Coast Guard's. It's the Coast Guard's jurisdiction now.
Yep. He must be dead.
He's on a boat.
Yeah. So everyone's just like, oh yeah, he must be. He died escaping from prison. Well,
Yeah.
Did you find a body? No, but he jumped off of the building into the water, and y'all know that
Dale,
he can't live in the water.
Dale, the ocean's a pretty big place. Yeah. I mean, the chance of finding a body with all that water, you know what I'm saying?
It's pretty low. He was probably
bold of you to assume we have
dolphin.
Resources.
So he gets to Castor Troy's headquarters, and he pretends to be Troy.
Well, so I'm trying to remember. Does he break into home first, or was that later?
I don't remember.
No. A whole bunch of shit comes into town. He goes.
I just remember he meets the girl toy of Castor Troy.
Yeah.
And her son.
Yeah, his New Jersey piece, and and their illegitimate child.
That's right.
Yeah. Who looks ironically a lot like, his child that was murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just so happens to be the case.
Yeah.
I wonder what's going to happen in the end then. We have a kid that looks just like his dead son. Wow.
Yeah.
So Troy discovers that Archer has escaped from the prison, and now that he's the head of FBI or whatever, he has his own team. He can go in and take him out. And there's another really badass action sequence there where the cops come through the windows and stuff. Mm-hmm. I remember that very vividly.
Mm-hmm. So was this before or after his boss? Or before? That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then Archer's boss, Victor Lazaro, blames the whole thing on Castor Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And Pollux dies. That's right. His brother.
Yeah. There was a lot of action all packed in back to back to back with scenes. So trying to remember the chronology of them is a little confusing, if I'm being honest.
Yep. It is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It gets a little convoluted as it goes.
Yeah, it gets really overwhelming, and it's just constant action for like 30 minutes straight with all these scenes stacked on top of each other. Because there's also a point that... That's why I ask. So, he gets called out for being too aggressive at going after Castor Troy and by his boss, who just starts, obviously having some heart problems there.
Yeah.
So,
which they must have a pretty bad coroner because.
Usually there's a big difference between getting punched in the chest and having a heart attack. Dragon fist punch and heart attack usually show up a little bit differently.
A little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
And then there was the scene where just the cops just openly try to murder Castor Troy's son.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how the FBI clearly doesn't have an IA division. Budget cuts, I assume. But
Yeah. I mean, they got enough guns.
Yeah. You don't need IA whenever you've got guns.
That's what matters.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's a loose cannon that doesn't play by the rules.
Yeah.
So how about when...
That's who we promote.
Mm-hmm. How about when Nicolas Cage, who's actually John Travolta, meets with his wife?
Oh, yeah. So he breaks into the house, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. He probably just walks into the house and just puts in his security code. But, he's just bleeding and dying, and he goes up, "Hey, honey, I just want to let you know I'm actually John Archer. I remember you. I know. Yeah. Just come see me later. My blood type's different.
My blood type's different."
So, at the beginning, before they do the procedure, they make a point to say that the chip that they put in his throat to make his voice different also could be very easily disabled by just too much motion.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Don't get punched in the throat.
Yeah, I remember.
So couldn't he just punch himself in the throat and disable the chip to make his voice go back to normal?
No, because if you do it to yourself, it doesn't count. Self-damage is actually turned off, so it has to be PvP damage only.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, could you punch me in the throat, please?
Right
I need you to
in
punch
this
me in the
spot.
throat.
But not hard enough that I die. Just break this thing here.
Yeah.
Honey,
So punch me
I
kindly.
just need you to step on my throat. Just
That might have actually worked. He probably could have convinced the girl to just choke him, and she would have been like, "Yeah, Castor, is this what you like?"
That would be hilarious. Oh my gosh. So Eve tells Archer that Castor Troy will be vulnerable at Lazaro's funeral.
Which I don't quite understand. He's like, oh, he's the new boss of the FBI. He's going to be untouchable now. Not tomorrow.
Yeah. He's
Tomorrow's
not paying his respects.
Yeah, that's how secession works. Okay? Have you never been the emperor of China? You cannot take over as the new emperor until you complete the ritual of attaining the death of the previous emperor.
Yeah.
Same rules in the FBI.
Well, Castor Troy is a lot smarter than that, and he actually figures it out, and he takes Eve hostage ahead of time.
Well, yeah,
He gets
because nobody noticed, but he hired his old goonies to work for him at the FBI. Everyone's like, Archer, who are these new guys? Didn't they used to work for Castor Troy? Yeah. But since he's dead, they decided they wanted to turn over a new leaf now, so they work for me now. It's fine.
Right.
Don't worry
they
about
actually
it, guys.
have they have criminology degrees. It turns out. So
Okay. I just thought this was Gotham City.
That probably would have made more sense.
Yeah. Is that when we get the church shootout? Sasha gets hit.
Yes. Because they were
Man,
in the
that was
church,
like
yeah.
Cowboy Bebop or something. I don't know. It just it was so anime.
Yeah.
I thought that gunfight.
But I remember watching. It was great watching this movie because it reminded me of another movie that I saw when I was a kid. It was a short series of films. It was called Dumbass.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent series.
When me and Reese were kids, when we first got a camcorder, one of the very, very first things we did was we decided we were going to do just these little like skits of us doing dumb shit. We were going to call it Dumbass. Ironically enough,
We wanted to make
about a
our
year
own
before
Jackass.
came. No, this was before Jackass came out because I remember us specifically saying that they ripped us.
Oh, we were upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We did it first.
Yeah. So, but also one of the things we had done is we had taken some cap guns out and we had recreated, I guess, some versions of this movie in the park.
Face Off is definitely one of the movies that we reenacted a lot.
Yeah.
With the guns.
Yeah. And then switching sides.
It's got to be on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that I put that on YouTube.
I think so.
If you want to see some of the worst videos, some of the worst home movies of your life, just go to VHS Bros on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Sean actually did our logo for that.
I did.
So that's embarrassing.
Yeah. And we were talking about Gary's Mod earlier. I was playing some VHS Bros videos in the movie server.
Oh, really?
But nobody was watching with me, unfortunately. But yeah, we loved Face Off so much we pretended to be the characters and we would shoot each other with cap guns in the public park.
Yeah.
Probably not a smart thing to do, especially now.
So it was the same church scene, right? So they had done that gun scene early on in the movie, right before Castor had been killed the first time. And so they repeated it this time, but this time they started it with, instead of being face-to-face, they were face-to-face with a mirror of themselves.
Oh.
So that they were still looking at the same enemy, but the enemy was within themselves all along.
Oh my goodness. They're like Cloud and Sephiroth.
You know, I have comments that I want to make, which is ultimately why I want to get to the end, because I feel like some of my opinions don't matter as much until we've hit the conclusion.
Let's get to the end. Where does... Well, Sasha dies, I remember.
Yeah, during
that was Troy's
same gunfight?
drug girl.
Was it the same gunfight that she died in?
I'm pretty sure it was. But I remember when the boat... There's like a boat fight.
I think they go directly from the church fight to the boat fight. I think it's
why not?
Because it's like what is the fight with Peter Griffin and the chicken? That's what this felt like to me. because like
right?
they just there was a
crazier.
point, yeah, like it's even in the boat fight, right at the very end they ram into something and they go flying 30 feet and then they're both like collapsed on the sand, and I'm like, okay, so it's over. And then they get up, they start crawling, and they continue fighting, and that was perfect flashback to like Peter and the chicken falling out of an airplane and hitting each other and then just getting up and continuing to fight.
Yeah. I just thought that that's when you, as the audience, realize, oh, this takes place in the Matrix, and they just don't know they're in the Matrix, but we do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Keanu
John Woo.
I feel like this would just be something that, like, at Universal Studios, they would have like a water attraction, just be like, oh, the face-off ride.
Yeah.
They do. It's in the back room, and kids usually don't come back from that one.
Don't you guys think it's
the Ferris wheel ride?
Don't you guys think it's hilarious that Waterworld was such a flop, but there's a freaking Waterworld ride that has survived all of these years?
You know, what's bad is I still have like memories of Waterworld, yet I've never rewatched it. Like it's probably been 20 years since I've seen it.
I feel like we got to rewatch Waterworld.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Sean?
I haven't actually.
Yeah.
But I do know of the Virtual Boy Waterworld game.
I'm sure that's a classic. Okay, so what happens, Steve? We got to finish Face Off.
This is nearly the end, right? So they go from their endless fight. Eventually,
it's like Highlander.
Yeah.
At this point,
how does the fight end?
Very dramatically.
So where do they go from the? They go into
to land.
Yeah, but how does his daughter get involved? Because that was where it ended up, right? They left
the
the wife
Metal
and
Gear
child, but they got back to the wife and child somehow, I feel like.
This is Metal Gear Solid 2, when you have the fight with Solidus. It's just the fist fight part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Troy... Oh, yeah, he starts cutting his own face.
Yeah, that's
Remember
right.
that? That was awesome.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But then Archer starts beating Troy's ass, and he gets the spear gun.
Yeah.
And that's what takes him out.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool as a kid, but now I feel like, oh, that's just like somebody dropped a God mode weapon or something.
Yeah.
Here's my spear gun.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and so after all of the death, mayhem, and destruction, he just they bring in a new surgeon, they fix him up, and he goes home.
Everybody's been killed that knows about it. It's like, look, I promise you, there was this whole thing. They took my face off, swapped it.
Yeah, he even tells the doctor, he's like, hey, you know this scar that I had over here that all the people that I told to make sure that they kept it here are all dead?
Yeah.
Can you...
Yeah.
Don't worry about putting it back. And the doctor's like, yeah, okay. I have no fucking clue what this dude's talking about. I'm here to read some notes and figure some shit out, man. This dude's nuts.
Man.
And then what do you do after going through this whole situation? You just bring home a child to your wife and be like, hey, you know that guy that kind of like raped you?
This is his kid.
Yeah, we're gonna raise him.
Yeah, and
that's
his
cool,
name is my
right?
kid. Don't fucking argue with me with this.
Yep. Wow.
Also, by the way, after I woke up from this intense surgery and after promising you that I would not run, I wouldn't hide from this family anymore, instead of coming directly home to my wife and child, I drove 3 hours in the opposite direction to pick up this homeless child. I've also spent the last 2 days in custody court trying to get him signed over to me and cutting deals with everybody. So I've actually been out of the hospital for about a week and a half now, but kid comes first. Sorry, honey.
Wow.
It's like, shouldn't you not be driving after
face surgery?
Yeah. Well.
So, yeah.
This was the first Hollywood film where director John Woo was given major creative control. I don't quite know what that means, but he had the power in this film.
So, okay, one of my biggest points that I want to make about this movie, one of my biggest ahas is watching this entire thing. throughout the entire movie, I always felt like John Travolta was the bad guy.
Okay.
Castor Troy was honest about his intentions. He was just a lunatic. But Archer was a legitimately bad dude the whole movie.
You think because he was so consumed by vengeance?
No, because I mean, I don't know much of his character from the very beginning, but I mean, even his best friend, right, said at one point, you know, I'm most afraid of you becoming Castor Troy in there. Basically saying, like, I know that you're mentally unstable and you're just seconds away from enjoying mass murder. And I'm just afraid that if you go into this prison with people, like, it's going to unlock your bloodlust. And I feel like that's exactly what happened. He got into prison and he legitimately started, like, killing for fun. And after that, he just thought, because think about it, he killed so many cops, so many innocent people, with no regard to life at all. He never cared about his family. Castor Troy actually did more for his own daughter than he did. Look at her character development throughout the entire movie. She is garbage, but then she has one conversation with Castor Troy, and all of a sudden, she becomes a good kid.
Wow.
But then his own child ends up worse. And like all the other people around Castor, like all the people that legitimately seem to care about Castor, Archer, like when Archer's in his body, he just uses and abuses them.
Right.
The real question is, would Castor Troy still be a criminal if it weren't for the police state?
It's true.
Maybe he was just an everyman trying to get by.
Yeah, he was Anon before Anon.
Oh, man. You know, this is going to be a hard Cage fight for me.
Yeah.
Man.
When I try to think of things in terms of what's the better film, man, there's so many elements that come into play, right? So Face Off had some wonderful Cage out moments with the crazy faces and with the trying to learn how to look crazy. You know, that was a really interesting feature of it that gave some dynamic to Cage's acting in this movie. Yeah. But Face Off, on the other hand, just had like these the terrible accent hillbilly going against all of these like rugged criminals and stereotypical criminals. Both of them had this beautiful dynamic to work with.
Yes.
That just made Cage shine so brightly. Right. And even in Con Air, against all of those other wonderful actors, Cage still managed to shine. Which is it makes it really hard.
Right. This is what's going to decide for me, my pick. How do you feel about the rhythm of each film, of both of these films? Do you feel like one becomes kind of more boring and stale at a certain point? Do you think they both keep up that same level of energy throughout? You know what I mean? That's what's going to do it for me.
Part of me wants to ask the question, should the movie that is technically a better film win, or the movie that is technically a better Nicolas Cage film?
Right. Okay. I think I've made my choice.
See, even when you say rhythm, I feel like they're both very, very similar as far as their speed and rhythms go. Because I feel like both of them had a ridiculous opening, and then immediately went into a Sidewinder plot, then escalated at a nearly decent rate from like that point up to like a climax point, but then they both just held this intense climax.
That's true.
An unnecessary amount of time to a somewhat stale ending.
I think that both of them, though, kind of had this little bit of a point where they became kind of stale.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Kind of boring until it got to that climactic
I agree.
part. And it's hard for me to...
But I feel like that's somewhat normal for like growth of a movie. I feel like most movies, you get this point where it's like, you get good growth, then you kind of get bored for a minute, and then you get the sudden climax spike.
Yeah. All right.
I do feel like both movies kind of dragged towards the end a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, shall we start the cage fight then?
You got a pick?
I have a pick.
I'm still on the fence.
I have a pick.
So let's hear it.
I think I'm gonna go last.
I don't know if that's gonna work because I'm still undecided, honestly.
Okay.
I can go.
Sean, you want to start us?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. Is that all right?
Make up your fucking mind.
Mm-hmm. I'll go first. I thought I would go first. I watched Con Air for the first time and absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, Cage is not the reason why I love it, for the most part. I mean, I love his character. It's iconic. It's meme-worthy. But I still believe that the rivalry between Cage and Travolta is legendary in Face Off. And there's just so much Cage, ridiculous Cage in Face Off, that if I'm going to have to pick one for Late Night Cage Fight...
Wait, before you do that, I forgot. Two truths and a lie.
Let's do it, Steve. All right, let's hear these truths and lies that we'll never know the answers to.
First off, according to his blood test results, Castor Troy's AC1 or A1C is much higher than 6.5%, so he's most likely has diabetes.
Okay, that sounds like something you're not able to make up.
The movie inspired face plant surgery that would be successfully implemented only a few years later.
Face transplant surgery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3, the magnetic boots the prisoners wore in the prison are the same boots worn by the Goombas in Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, that's got to be true. It's number 2. It's number 2.
Which one is that?
The surgery.
Yeah, the surgery inspiring real face transplant surgery. That's a lie.
You're correct.
Oh my god. We got one, Sean.
We got one.
He gave us one.
The real life, the first real life face transplant was accomplished in 2012 on Richard Norris, who'd accidentally shot himself in the face with a shotgun the same year the movie came out.
Oh, was it because of the movie? Did he see the movie and that was just too much for him? I'm sorry, that was bad. That was bad. How about the lady who got her face eaten by a monkey? Chimpanzee. You remember her?
Yeah.
Man, that was terrible. But she got a new face. Could have been inspired by Face Off. A little bit.
I had one other option on this one, but I left it out, which was that Chow Yun-fat was rumored to be in the movie. He was supposed to be in this movie originally.
Yeah. Is that true, or you were going to use that as
another
a lie?
truth, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been badass.
Yeah.
But he would have...
He's the president of China.
I can't remember who ended up in his place.
He would have upstaged John Travolta.
Yeah. Oh, Margaret Cho took the role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, to the cage fight.
Yeah, so...
Gentlemen.
I don't know if that influences your decision.
Maybe, slightly. But yeah, I loved Con Air so much, I really did. But I'm going to give it to Face Off. I am. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's your deciding factor on Face Off? What made you come to your final decision?
The amount of cage and caginess that's in Face Off. Like I said, the rivalry between Cage and Travolta is just amazing, and the action sequences with Cage, his one-liners are just epic. Con Air is fantastic too. I mean, in a perfect world, these two movies are on par with each other, really. But it's more about the fact that Cage is so crazy in Face Off compared to Con Air, where he's goody two-shoes, Cameron Poe. Mm-hmm. So that's sadly that's my pick. Face Off. Who wants to go next?
Sean, are you solidified, or you still kind of fluid on it?
I think I know, but I could be swayed.
Yeah.
So
I'm still on the fence. There's a lot of great things in Con Air. I feel like it's like you said. I mean, that whole cast though, because you're right.
Yeah.
Face Off has more Cage screen time, and that rivalry is so great, but because you've got the two, but you have this all-star cast, and Nic Cage stands on par and above.
Whatever you say, Steve, I can't disagree with.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that I can fully stand behind you, even based on your argument.
I'm taking the safe one because so many people know Face Off and love it, and maybe Con Air too. But I'm a pussy. Yeah, that's why. I'm a people pleaser.
That's yep. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Anytime. I like to remind you.
I'm trying to make a good podcast show. I'm trying to make some conflict between us.
I'm
That's
sorry.
why.
It's hard for me not to mentor you. Just being older, stronger, faster, smarter.
It's Steve's birthday today.
Yeah.
Mine is in 5 days.
Right. Yeah,
so
5 days a week.
Steve also has slept with Reese's.
It's true.
I'm going to have to cut that shit out. But
she doesn't know it, though. I was dressed up as Reese.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Then I guess your plan worked.
Yeah.
Poisoning her.
Yeah.
I'm still going with Face Off. So.
Okay.
I would say for the purpose of entertainment, if you're not going to choose Face Off, you should go next. I have also drank a lot of sake.
Yeah,
I love how you guys are right now. You guys are literally deciding the fate of the podcast.
I know.
Of the Cage verse.
Yeah.
This is going to shape Nicolas Cage and his roles and his legacy for eons to come.
Yeah.
And we might have to put this out to our 2 or 3 fans out there. Mm-hmm. Hey, we need help. But I made my choice, and I'm going to stick by it.
What do you think, Steve?
So, watching Face Off again as an adult and as a parent.
Yeah. As a parent.
That horrified me.
Okay.
It horrified me. Like I said, John Archer's character, the way that he treats his family, the way that he... Man, his relationship with his family, the way that Cage interacts with it, just the way that all of the people interact in this movie.
Yeah.
It felt so much more comedic and inappropriate to me than Con Air
you can
did.
tell none of them had kids.
Well, yeah.
Or
But they did. In the terms of the movie, whereas Con Air felt more, I don't know, real in some ways, more honest. The only thing that was really uncomfortable about that movie for me was really just Nic Cage's accent. If you were to fix his accent, I think that movie is nearly perfect.
I love his accent.
But from an ironic standpoint,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
So
love
you're
to make
telling me
fun
that's
of it.
that's the only thing wrong with Con Air is his accent?
Yeah, absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
story is solid enough for you.
Well,
It makes sense.
as an action film, and
Okay.
just trying to be over the top for
Yeah.
we're transporting all these prisoners, which
I
those
just feel
things
like
happen. There are
well,
prison
you
transports.
brought up Total Recall earlier.
Yeah.
And I buy that more than I buy Con Air as a believable storyline.
Yeah.
And that takes place on Mars. So, yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
Think about that.
Fair.
God, we're going to be here all night, guys.
So this was actually my first time watching either movie.
Yeah.
I know that might surprise you.
Sean, you should have gone first. He's the one that's going to have the actually something significant to say.
Yeah.
Cage Fighter Steve.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to let you talk now.
So I think Con Air was a fantastic film. It had a great ensemble cast.
Yes.
It really was a great example of the 90s action movie genre in full effect.
Okay, here you're going to say but, right? Here it comes. But
as a Nicolas Cage movie, I feel like Face Off really shows the full range of Cage's acting ability.
I was convinced you were going to pick Con Air. I was convinced.
You even have John Travolta going as far as emulating Cage's typical, bombastic style.
Uh-huh.
And I think for the purposes of this podcast, I think it's got to be Face Off.
Wow. This is...
See, but I don't think Nick played John Travolta's character, at all.
But does that matter in the grand scheme of the Cage-verse?
I mean, it
Because it's
defames
all
your
about
argument.
Cage.
I was convinced Sean would pick Con Air and you would pick Face Off. That was my prediction,
Yeah?
Steve.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always been...
How about we do a poll?
I mean,
we
I'm
should do
game.
a poll?
Yeah. I think
And then
that's
we
the
can-
best idea.
We can aggregate all the votes, and this will be the first Versus episode where we actually let people decide. What do you think? Because otherwise, we're just going to kill each other. There's not going to be another late night cage fight episode because we're just going to be dead.
Well, I mean, we have to go into the finale because this is definitely going to be. Yeah, I mean, the other option is that we bring both of them into the final cage fight.
Well, the only thing is, if we're going to leave this up in the air, if we're going to leave this to listeners to decide, we have to tell them where they can vote, when it ends, and we're going to have to do at least a short episode where we announce the winner.
I don't think we're going to be able to say where it ends. I mean, we're going to have to do these and you're going to have your votes cast
by Friday, May 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be our best bet.
Yeah. All right. Well,
and we can't launch it until the episode is out, so we can just have you insert that.
Yeah.
all right. Sounds good.
Stick it
I'll
in.
insert that at the end. Yeah. So this will be the first late night cage fight episode where we're going to let the community, the ghost community, decide.
You've had two
the fate.
firsts in this episode.
What was the other one?
You successfully guessed.
Oh, yeah. It's hard. Steve, I hate you for suggesting that we should put similar movies together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, yeah, we're at a standstill here. Wow.
And
Well-
what does one lucky poll person get?
I don't know.
Let's do 2 polls. Let's change around. Let's change our final cage fight. Instead of having 5 movies going head to head,
Okay.
let's have one of these 2 movies face off against one of the other 4. Or sorry, there's 3 of us. We'll do 3. We'll do 2 of the previous 4. Or we could even do these 2 movies and one of the previous 4 for the final fight.
All right, go to our Facebook page. We're going to have a poll up there shortly. You can also send us a message if you want, or you can send us an email, latenightcagefight@gmail.com. However you want to do it, we're going to tally all of it. And then we will reveal in our cage fight, right?
We'll do the audience pick, and then we'll also, at the end of the day, the Cage Lord's going to make the final call.
True.
But,
That's true. All right. Wow. Like you said, a night of firsts for us here, fellas.
All of the season's winners will still be up to the Cage Lord's option. I personally see no point in having a defender for these movies, but the Cage Lord is still welcome to make those selections, even without a defender.
Without a defender.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we might not choose to defend all of these movies.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, visit our Facebook page. We're also at nickcagefight.com. And this is Late Night Cage Fight, guys. We just went through Con Air and Face Off in detail. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're big fans. I hope you're even bigger fans of Nicolas Cage after listening to this. What an adventure, guys. I'm Cage Fighter Reese, here with Cage Fighter Sean, Cage Fighter Steve. What we have coming up next is our season finale cage fight. It's going to be epic. We hope to do kind of a bonus cageless after, and then we'll see what the future has in store for Late Night Cage Fight. I thank you all for listening and tuning in. And until next time, cage out.
Cage out.